Hello, I'm Luann Edwards. Welcome to the SoPro Brief. This is a live conversation about communication and human connection. And today, for those who are watching on the replay, is Wednesday, November 25th. It is the day before Thanksgiving. And we're going to be talking about gratitude today and how we use gratitude in our work and in our lives to make those human connections and communicate. So welcome, I'm Luann Edwards. I am the founder of Socially Professional, and I'll be hosting today. I am a social media marketing consultant who works with organizations, in-house marketing teams, and executives to help them use social media to make human connections and see business results. Today, I'm going to be joined by Jennifer Squelia. Jen is the founder and owner of RLC Events, that's named after her late father, Robert Lee Colburn. And she works with companies in the finance and insurance space, as well as healthcare and defense in the meetings and events industry. She also has had her start in hospitality nearly 35 years ago, working with, specializing in operations, convention services, and I don't want to forget anything, and catering. So I'm going to welcome Jen to tell us a little bit more about herself and how gratitude is important to her. Hi, Jen. Welcome.
Hey, Luann. How are you?
It's great to see you. Thank you for joining the SoPro Brief. I gave a little bit of an introduction about you, but you are welcome to tell the audience a little bit more about your work. And also, let's talk about gratitude today.
Oh my gosh, it's like my favorite topic. And I'm very grateful to be here talking about gratitude with you. One of my, someone who I've met through this industry who has become such a great friend. And I just admire you so much as a professional, and I'm just grateful that you're in my network of friends. So, I'm grateful for a lot of things. Gratitude is a big part of who I am. And I'm grateful to be an entrepreneur. Have been on my own since 2007, but I'm really grateful to be in this industry. And as we all know, right now, it's a really hard time to be in this industry. We're really going through a very disruptive period. But to me, I have seen some of the best in people through this time. People have really, especially with our hospitality partners, people who have been so impacted. Their sense of positivity, the ability to pivot. And also, my colleagues, my other professionals. We've embraced virtual, and it's been hard to embrace virtual, but I've been really impressed with not only have we done it, but we've also done it together, and the sharing of ideas and the exchange of, the positive energy. And I know we talk about Zoom fatigue, but to be honest with you, I'm so grateful for Zoom. I can't imagine getting through this pandemic without it, personally and professionally.
It's so true. It's so true. And so just want to shout out to Wayne and Kara. Hey, thanks for joining us. Great to see you. And thanks for everybody else for joining us. You are welcome to add comments or ask questions right in the comments of wherever you're tuning in, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. And you're welcome to comment on this when we share it later through other platforms. Jen, I can't agree enough. It is hard sometimes when things are challenging to say, okay, what is there to be grateful for? And I like to think of it as a lens, right? That no matter what the situation is, and there is a lot to be stressed about and a lot to be not so happy about or at all happy about, but the lens of, okay, what's positive? What positive piece can I take out of this? What growth, what learning can I take out of this? Even when everything else is just not great. Just sort of choosing that lens sometimes just gives you a little bit of a sense of peace or power in a way, depending on the situation. As I was writing my notes for today's conversation, I started to write the word great, like GREAT, and was kind of laughing about like grateful and great, like grateful, are sort of having a lot in common. So it's really, it's really, great. Being grateful is great, right? It has the opportunity. It has the potential to turn things into something positive, to something great. So I really like that. Empathy, grace, and compassion. As Wayne's saying, it all does come together. It's all really important. And Yeah, I feel like they're all spokes on that wheel, right? They all keep things together.
Yeah. I think there's also been a lot, obviously, I think we've had a little time to read quite a bit in the last 8 months.
Yeah.
And there's been so many articles about how people who are grateful and express gratitude are kind of making it through this pandemic situation and all the unrest and all that kind of stuff. They're faring better than others because it's a very healthy mindset, right? So I think it's really important to have goals and aspirations and, want things and yearn for things. It's good. It's good for you, right? It gives you something to reach for. But I also think you really need to counter that with being really grateful for what you have. Because you have so much. I mean, I have so much. I'm so grateful. And I know this pandemic's been so hard on so many people, and I don't mean to make light of it by any stretch, but I do find, the days where I'm a little stressed out or I'm blue, I try to kind of step back and just make a list of what I'm grateful for. And it really helps kind of put me back in the right mindset.
Yeah. And I think it's important. You make a good point, right? It's important that we look at gratitude not as ignoring the things that are tough or ignoring the things we're not so grateful for. It's acknowledging that these things exist together, right? And understanding in the whole context, but really sort of trying to turn your attention to those things that you feel grateful for. I think for me, the pandemic has been challenging, right? Like a lot of people, I'm grateful for a lot of the blessings I do have. And, but one of the things I think for everyone is that it disrupted, right? It disrupted, and you think of disruption in a negative, light in some time, in some cases where it's like, oh, disruptions, drive me crazy at work. But disrupting, like now we hear it in the context of innovation, right? Oh, we've disrupted this or we've disrupted that. So it does open up the space to let something new in, right? To sort of disrupt that.
Reset, right? I mean, it gives space to reset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And maybe create something different if it's not, or something better when, there might not have been a chance to do it before, but now it's kind of like, oh, everything's different. Everything has changed. So, yeah, it's an interesting time, but again, great gratitude. I think it's wonderful. So I'm going to step to the next question, which is, how does gratitude play out in your work? How do you sort of take that and move it into your work?
Well, I think, one thing when I never stop. I never take my clients and the business that I have for granted. I'm really grateful for their faith in me and their confidence in me. And that really drives me to, do what I say I'm going to do. Over deliver, under promise, and I think I've never for a second taken any client or piece of business or event for granted. And the other thing is, I think, as you know, because you did events and you still do on a social media perspective, but it takes a village. Mm-hmm. Not just one person creates an event. You've got the planning team, you've got your clients, you've got the attendees. All of those people contribute to the success of an event. And that doesn't change whether it's virtual or in person. I mean, it really does take a village. So, no man is an island. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I love collaborating with people. Mm-hmm. and all the hard work that people put in and people that are as dedicated to, the end result as I am. And not only just like my peers and colleagues, like other planners on the team or people that I have the great pleasure of working with, but when you're on site at a hotel, you've got, all of the hotel associates, like the banquet servers and people at the front desk who are right in there doing the best they can to make your event the best it can be, and taking such great care of your attendees. And then you have the attendees. I mean, I always say, a party's not much of a party if nobody comes, right? So attendees coming to the event and giving, just reading what you send them and just totally engaged in the content and the networking. It's funny. I miss that energy from in person. It's coming back, mm-hmm. but I do miss that. And you definitely try to replicate it as much as you can on virtual. But I do look forward to the day where I can welcome attendees back in person. And hopefully it'll be sooner than later. Such great vaccine news, mm-hmm. which I'm grateful for. But so, I think that at the end of the day, I'm grateful for the people and that translates a lot into my work. And also I'm grateful for my network. I'm so lucky to have so many cool people like fellow meeting planners, hospitality professionals. I always say, just when I think I've met all the coolest people in the world, I meet more. Mm-hmm. People are just so interesting. I think our industry brings together people have really cool backgrounds. They're just interesting people. I think we all love to travel. I know you and I have a passion for travel. And I think that I put a lot into my network, and I don't just, reach out to people to, when I need something, I try to reach out to them if, they've just had surgery or they just had a baby or they're engaged or, or it's a birthday. I think it's really important to celebrate these milestones with people. And so that's kind of how I carry it into my work. I try not to take anything for granted and really be thankful for all the success that I've had and with all the people I've had it with.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I think about like gratitude in my work, of course, I'm grateful for all the experiences I've had and that sort of all the things that helped me build the career and the business that I have today. And it does so much come with the people, right? The people who helped along the way, who taught, who mentored, who championed. I'm grateful for your example as an entrepreneur, which, inspired me as I grew my business and your collaboration and advice. Like, so it is the people, right? Supporting each other and helping each other learn and grow and really kind of get through this really uncertain time of the pandemic. And I'm also another parallel to what you said is, with social media, it's good by itself, but it doesn't really work unless people come, right? Unless people give you information or interaction or engagement. So it's kind of the same thing, right? Where I'm grateful for the people who engage with me and with my clients on social media. I'm grateful for the insights they share and the opportunity to interact with them, which didn't exist before social media. I'm also grateful for the hard questions. And this may sound a little weird, but especially when I'm doing training or I'm working with a group and I'm introducing a new concept or a new technique, and somebody invariably will raise their hand and say, I can't see how this is going to work, or I don't understand this. I'm not really a believer, in something, pick any kind of technique. And I welcome that, actually. People might be a little uncomfortable being challenged. I want to be challenged, and I want to be challenged in front of other people. I'm grateful for that because that gives me the opportunity to answer that question, not only for that person, but for everybody else who has that question and won't say it. Because if I believe in something, chances are I have the information to share to help people sort of understand where I'm coming from and why I think it's a good idea. And whether or not they disagree, it's an opportunity. So, so I'm grateful for the tough questions, which may sound a little weird.
No, I think it's a great thing to be grateful for because it stretches you, right? I mean, we're always trying to be better and learn, and you're not going to learn if you just keep getting softballs, right? You have to. I think it's a great thing to be grateful for. I think being stretched, being challenged, in a good way, obviously, it's really, it just makes us better and better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm grateful for the helpers. I'm grateful for the folks who see something and say, hey, I can tell you need help, or I can tell this group needs help. I can tell whatever. Let me do what I can. And we've seen so much of that, especially this past year, and especially in all the contexts of things that have been challenging this year. The help, you sort of see the story on social media of like, look for the helpers. And it really is, it's a sort of a way of like identifying gratitude. So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They're always there. They're so lucky to have all the helpers we have in our lives.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of like along the same lines of this sort of topic of tough times that deserve our gratitude. And I think it goes, I put this in here because it kind of goes back to my feeling of, tough times opening up opportunities we may not have seen, even though it's not so pleasant or, something we really want to be dealing with. But it's tough times, I think, are opportunities. And it's, again, sort of that gratitude lens of, while we're navigating the tough parts, is there anything positive to grab?
I just think, again, kind of going back to what I just said, when we're challenged, we learn, right? And we we grow. And I think during times like this, I think being grateful and frankly being kind, and you had said it earlier in the discussion, empathy is really important right now. Just being nice to people. And for me, it's just heartbreaking to see the kind of in-person, what it's done to our industry, all these incredible ladies and gentlemen that are in our industry who just work so hard every day to deliver such an amazing service. And I am fully confident it's coming back. I do feel like the finish line kind of keeps getting pushed out, but it will definitely come back, and it is starting to come back. And I credit a lot of people in our industry who are, like MPI just did their WEC. I mean, it's really great that takes courage, and they did a great job. A lot of people came out. Mike Dominguez and Al High, they've done an amazing job doing events, and bringing, kind of getting back to business. I think it's slowly taking place, but I think there's a lot of leadership in our industry that's bringing people back. So it is tough right now. And I think probably one of our toughest when I look ahead, I think one of the toughest things is going to be that we have no control over is when are our attendees going to and really feel comfortable coming back out in person again. You can't predict that. You can say, okay, this hotel is open. They have great protocols. We can get COVID tests. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to create that, feeling of safety and knowing that good health and safety is a priority for your attendees. But it's still, I think it's a very personal thing, right? So I think you just have to that I think is going to be hard, right? You can't drag people into an event kicking and screaming. You would never do that, right? You have to respect how they feel. That's a different mindset than we've had before. When it comes back, I think people will, when people are comfortable, I think there's just going to be this amazing kumbaya moment where we're all going to be like, just, a big hug going, oh my gosh, feels so good.
Yeah.
To be out here again,
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. We make connections, and obviously like social media is a way that I help people make connections, but it's different. And so you sort of take all the different pieces to help people make those connections. And I don't think any one industry, I think that the industry will come back, right? And I just do think like that human connection, we're all going to be so, like you said, like, I'm not going to repeat exactly what you said, but it's exactly what you said. Like just like being together and sort of like reconnecting in person is just, it's going to take on different meaning when we're able to do it. And establishing that comfort level. And that's sort of universal, I think, in a lot of industries, right? Is regardless of pandemic, not pandemic, but having people be comfortable with the environment they're in so that they can engage and get the most out of the experience is really important. And I think you're right, sort of talking about protocols and procedures and, just showing the effort, I think will go a long way. And I think, we're already seeing that, and that's great.
Yeah. I think the hotel industry, I think of what the hotel and not just hotels, I should say all the people that rely on events, speaker bureaus, destination management companies, CVBs, venues, I mean, all of it. I mean, they have done such a remarkable job with their protocols, and they've invested a lot of money in a time where they're not really making any. And I just give a shout out to all of them because they have just really stepped up, and they're in it to win it, and and I think it's hard because you've got a lot of companies that are very conservative and are waiting. And I get that. I totally respect that. I see that side of it too. I 100% respect that. It's a lot. So it will come back. It's going to take a while. And I just think, working together, it's going to be, it's just going to be something that it's going to be something to really celebrate, right? When we're all back out there again. I'm really looking forward to it. But in the meantime, I've learned so much about virtual platforms. I mean, I'm grateful for this learning curve that was kind of thrown at me a little later in my career. Yeah. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but boy, I'm getting to know Zoom really well. And I'm grateful for that. And I really am. I mean, I've learned so much in the last, 6 to 8 months about just how different it is. And there's a lot of principles that are the same, but just the engagement and the shortened time windows and trying to do a meal for people in 4 time zones and, all these little things, these nuances. But it's been, I just feel like, smarter and stronger than I ever have. And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it has really taught me the power of digital and the power of, that exists in technology. And I think this is a big opportunity, right, for companies that offer this kind of technology for people, because there's still that human connection that really does happen.
Right.
And so, so I see everything as very complementary, and it'll be interesting to see how the good that comes out at the end. Like, you're right. A lot of investment, a lot of, business taking chances, right? Without, with sort of a uncertain future, at least in the short term.
Yeah.
But I'm really hopeful, again, without discounting the difficulty and the challenge, but I'm really hopeful that there is some silver lining that the meeting and events industry and hospitality feels, as well as people in a lot of different industries who've used technology differently. So, So any last, sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with you in that. I think our industry is going to be, stronger and more resilient than ever. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe, I'm thinking, it's going to take a little while, but it will be, because, and a lot of it has to do with the people who are in it, right? All the people who are on the hospitality side, all the meetings professionals, the travel agents, and frankly, all of the attendees. I think when people are able to safely get back out in person again, they're going to be so happy. And I don't think those will take it for granted like maybe they used to. And all that being said, I agree with you that the digital opportunities are just off the charts right now, and that's not going away. So I think in person is definitely coming back, but digital platforms, Zoom, all that, I think the day of the conference call is kind of gone. I really don't talk to people on the phone anymore. It's a Zoom meeting, and I'm kind of used to it. So it's just kind of, I think a lot of good things are going to come of this, and I would never, I like, to your point, I don't want to discount the hardships that people have had, and I feel terrible for that, but when you are feeling down and when you're feeling blue, just sit back and think, okay, what am I grateful for? There's always something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
How hard it is, so.
Yeah, agreed. And so I guess I'll end by just saying, to echo what you're saying, there are some really talented and amazing people in both of our, in our networks, right? Our respective networks and our networks for those tuning in. And I'm grateful for them. I think that you're right. They are the backbone of this, of our industries that will help us kind of see the other side of this and maybe see those silver linings. And I'm grateful for the support of the people that we're surrounded by. And I'm grateful for the talents that we share and the support that we give each other. It really is the people at the end of the day. And that's what it does come down to. So Jen, I'll give you the last word before we wrap up here at the SoPro Brief.
Well, first of all, I just admire you so much as a professional, Luann, and I just cherish you as a friend. And I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to talk about my favorite topic. And everything you just said, I am just really grateful for so much in my life, but the people, my husband, my friends, my colleagues, and I'm really grateful to be part of this amazing events industry. It's been something, I graduated with a hotel degree from UNH back in, a long time ago. And it's just been something I feel really blessed. It's just been something that I have loved to do ever since I've been working. And I still do. Not letting this pandemic get me down. So I'm grateful, and I appreciate all who are watching. And Luann, thank you for this opportunity. I love talking with you all the time, and this has been really fun. Thank you.
Well, Jen, the feeling is mutual. I'm so glad we could talk today. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Very thankful.
Me too. All right. Well, we'll see everybody again the next time we meet for the SoPro Brief in a couple of weeks. Reach out with any questions or any comments. Thanks for joining us. For those in the U.S., we're celebrating Happy Thanksgiving, and everywhere in the world, I hope that you have some things that you're grateful for this weekend.